Graphic novels are filled with many interesting points of analysis and have specific terminology that differ from traditional novels. Although common terms such as setting, character, and action still apply, graphic novels contain many nuances in their images and visuals. The essential part of a graphic novel is the panels, which are usually squares or rectangles containing a single scene. There are many types of panels, including open panels, where one or more of the panel sides are open to show dramatic effect, and splash panels, where one panel takes up the space of several panels in order to introduce or highlight an action or character. Panels offer the reader a perspective or point of view on a subject, much like how you angle a camera to frame a specific shot. The shape of the panel and the use of perspective within it can be manipulated to produce various emotional states in the viewer. Interesting things to consider when analyzing panels are the size of the panel, how do they fit together, do they interrupt or overlap each other, and are there any images without any panel borders? Panel transitions are also important things to think about. There are 6 types of panel transitions: moment to moment, action to action, subject to subject, scene to scene, aspect to aspect, and non sequitur. Moment to moment has very little change between the panels and little information needs to be filled in. Therefore, the reader doesn't need to imagine much. Action to action is used to show step by step what is happening to one person. Readers might have to fill in the gaps, but not much. Subject to subject shows one scene, but switch to a different subject, such as from one person to another. Readers might use their imaginations more and fill in what's happening between the two subjects. Scene to scene is used to transition between a large time gap. Readers will use their imagination to fill in these gaps. Aspect to aspect is similar to subject, whereas we're still looking at the same scene, but from a different aspects, such as a closer shot. Lastly, non sequitur is used to describe panels that have no logical relationship. We often use our imaginations to try and make a story out of the images and figure out what's happening in the gutter. The gutter is one of the most important elements in graphic novel design. Action happens in the gutter, or in the spaces between each panel as well as inside the panels. It is the space where the reader's imagination can create what is not shown. The gutters are where the action and movement of the story occur in the mind. The reader uses his or her imagination to figure out what's happening in that white space. Our imagination takes 2 separate images and transforms them into a single idea. Readers connect the images in the panels to construct a continuous story. Now for a sample analysis. The passage we chose is on page 122 of The Best We Could Do. In the first panel, we can see the separation between Bo and the fight above the ground with the use of visual sound cues to signal the gunfire. Bo is surrounded by darkness, which represents his loneliness and isolation, with the darkness bending around him as it follows the walls of the tunnel. Following the aspect-to-aspect transition, we get a closer shot on his face to emphasize the intimate connection as well as to highlight his facial expression in more detail. After Bo leaves the underground tunnel, we transition to a scene with many villagers surrounding a map. The dark red surrounding the map portrays it as a symbol of the effects of war. Red in the background of villagers escaping also represents how they're escaping or leaving the redness of the war. Throughout all this, a hint of red still clings to Bo, symbolizing how the effects of war stick with him. In the final panel, the villagers become white light, a public symbol of hope, but this is contrasted with the red-tinted shadows of these reflections, which show how the consequences of war still shadow them. It is important to understand that these techniques are used by the author to communicate some sort of message and are often interconnected to create a coherent, nuanced, and interesting novel.